Well, you saw it twice on live television today, but tonight we're doing it here virtually. It is round number 7 here of the Rowdy Energy Cup Series season right here on ESPN. Good evening, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening. And alongside me in the booth tonight is going to be Tony Trapasso, a guy who feels most at home on dirt, doesn't he?
True story. But unlike the races earlier today, we're actually going to be able to see what's going on the track here tonight.
Yeah, exactly right. There's not too much, if any, dust that's getting kicked up. There is some here and there, but not nearly as bad as it was during the actual race. A bunch of stories coming out of tonight. For the third week in a row, Tony Ball, the points leader, is not here. Again, 3 wins on the season. Right now, Greg McConey, who's looking for his first Monday night win of the season. He has 3 on the Friday night series, including the last 2. Greg McConey looking for his first win in the Tuesday night series, the Monday night series, pardon me. Right now, sitting fastest of all at a 17.58.
And a little known fact, the paint scheme Marconi's running tonight, that Baby Ruth paint scheme is actually an old school Jeff Gordon paint scheme. That was actually the first Cup paint scheme that Gordon ever ran when he made the move over from USAC.
That would have been his Busch scheme, actually.
No, that was his first Cup scheme.
No, when he drove for Bill Davis in the Busch Series. They had the Baby Ruth number. They had the Outback Steakhouse number 67, and then it was the Baby Ruth number 1 for 93.
And they ran that.
92, rather.
they ran that one race, and it was the Atlanta race. Richard Petty's last ever race. They ran that paint.
No, he was with Hendrick then. You're talking to a fan. But anyway, a minute 30 left. A minute 30 left in this practice session right now. McConey, Warren, Joe Gauthier actually sitting in the top 3 here in that number 67 Chevrolet, not a car we're used to seeing up towards the front. He's had a lot of good runs here recently, but not a guy we're used to seeing up front. Dirt could be his thing.
Well, here's the thing: is I'm looking down through the licensing, and they're running the dirt oval licenses tonight. Gautier is the only one that has an A license on the dirt side.
So yeah, we've hit home for Joe Gauthier. This thing is a little bit bigger, a little bit more powered, drives a little bit more like a boat than the normal car, than a winged sprint car or pretty much anything else you're going to find on dirt. But Gauthier could be one of those guys that is going to be a factor in this race tonight as we're coming down to just 30 seconds left to go here in this practice session. We'll go into qualifying, and Tony, pardon me, I was a little preoccupied prior to the broadcast starting here. What is the stages, the segments? Are they running heats tonight, or what's going on? Tell the folks.
I am the company mushroom. No one has told me anything. All I know is we're doing 100 laps. Total.
Okay, so
that's all I know is we're doing 100 laps total, 2 laps qualifying, and unlimited tire sets.
Okay, so it's just a straight 100 laps then, I would guess, if there are no heats that are being shown up on your side.
No heats, but there is going to be a 10-minute warm-up.
Okay, so we will get a little bit more practice here before this very unique event. And it looks as though that going into this qualifying session, the surface has been reset. It's not as worn out.
They are. What they're doing is in between each segment, if you will, in between practice and qualifying, what we generally refer to on the dirt side is farming the track, kind of freshening it back up to a 0 state, doing the same thing in the warm-up, and then doing the same thing just before the green flag drops. As I'm thinking getting a clean lap in tonight is going to be the difficult part for some of these guys, as there's a few cars out on track right now, and nobody has missed the wall yet.
Yeah, Connor Trafari, we saw him hit the wall coming out of turn number 2. We're watching Cruz Hernandez Jr. He's about to put in a clean lap. Ryan Worley has put in a clean lap as well at an 18.50 in that Haribo 00. And Joe Gautier now jumping up to second place as J.C. Windsor, making just his second start in the Rowdy Energy Cup Series, is right now up to the point with a 17.51 faster than what McConey was able to do in practice.
Windsor picked up a full second over what he put out in the hot lap session. As Jeff Price jumps up to second quick.
I think they took the sandbags out of that car is what happened then, as we're watching J.D. Woodward, who will not get a clean lap in after that little side slap of the wall. Jason Papp in the number 1. He's certainly not getting a clean lap in on his first attempt now. Ouch. At least, as he came up and hit that wall a ton and to do the same. My man's trying to keep speed is what he's doing, and unfortunately he needs a little bit more track to keep the speed that he wants to keep.
Yeah, the boys in the body shop are not going to be happy with him. That Camry is roached.
So here comes Brandon Wilson now. Wilson did set a time his first time out. It's an 18.53. And boy, got really squirrely coming out of turn 2 there. Able to gather it up, and we're seeing more of an old-fashioned Bristol line where the inside is the place to be as Wilson jumps it up into P2 at a 17.56. So a very good run. The top 2 separated by half a tenth. Everyone else is more than 3/10 off the pace.
And math majors, you can get your hate mail coming now. That's Frank Marchese, ESPN Towers, P.O. Box OU812.
There it is. It's McConey sets his first time. McConey goes 6th on his first lap at an 18.13. Getting a little wild coming off of turn 2, but he does look like he's keeping more pace in that number 12 than anyone else was.
He's got a lot of rear brake dialed into that car. You can hear the way he's working the throttle. He's driving it in there, jamming on the brake to get the thing to rotate, and using the throttle to control the slide. As
seeing Javon Cherry, the only driver out on track right now. Now Cherry's coming to the green flag here on his first attempt. Last time we saw Javon was at Phoenix 2 weeks ago in a start and park effort for that Fanatec number 20 Ford Toyota Camry, pardon me, as he goes purple through turns 1 and 2, looking really good through turns 3 and 4. Not fastest of all in the sector. I believe he might have cut down a little too far on the track because he's going to go purple again in sector 1 here. The first time didn't take. We'll see what happens with this second lap here. And this lap will take. It's purple. Wow, that lap didn't take either.
That's weird because he didn't hit anything.
Could it be that he's gone too low?
No, because even on the pavement, they don't bang you unless you hit one of the cones. He didn't hit a cone. He didn't hit a wall. I don't know why that didn't take unless they're banging him for being too sideways in the corners. But he wasn't any more sideways than anybody else was. That was weird.
Yeah, that is rather odd. As we're going to get now into the 10-minute warm-up session here. Now, remember back to. I know you weren't there for it, but for the Bud Shootout qualifying, Greg McConey's qualifying laps did not take, and he went and had to rerun his qualifying. It was clear on our screen that Cherry did not hit anything, and he was fastest of all. He would be the pole sitter tonight.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. I don't know what's going on. I mean, there was a patch that just came out earlier today for the sim, and we all know what normally happens in iRacing when that happens, but...
You saw it, 3 Wednesdays ago?
2 weeks ago, yeah.
So as we
Ooh.
right now sit here with this this 10-minute warm-up session. I think now would be a good time to mention our sponsors here for tonight. Tonight's broadcast of the Rowdy Energy Cup Series is sponsored by diecastnuts.com. Diecastnuts.com is a community site for people who love diecast, whether you want to post your collection, view other members' collections, or buy or trade to add to your own collection. Diecast Nuts is the #1 place to go. Other automotive memorabilia is available as well at Diecast Nuts. That's nuts with a Z at diecastnuts.com, or find them on Facebook by searching Diecast Nuts. Tonight's race is also brought to you by Rocket Racing Setups. Rocket Racing Setups is quickly becoming one of the lead setup builders for the iRacing community. If you need a proven race winner for your league or for your run to the official season championship, Rocket Racing Setups is where you need to go. They offer both dirt and asphalt setups along with adjustment guides, precise fuel sheets. With the ability to request setups and one-on-one coaching if you like to build your own setups, Rocket Racing Setups is really difficult to beat for the price. If you're ready to take your sim racing experience to the next level, head on over to rocketracingsetups.com today. Tonight's race also brought to you by the series sponsors. Big thank you and a big shout out to Rowdy Energy, CircleBDiecast.com, Midwest Motor Customs, iRacing iFlag, and Butt Kicker. And the series thanks you for your continued support. As we look through this practice session, we're seeing a lot of guys with the same damage on their cars. It's going to be rear end damage, and a lot of them are going to be having them on the right rear from pounding that wall, just as we see Cruz Hernandez do there.
Yeah, the quick way around, especially when the track starts to wear out, is going to be the proverbial, as they jokingly call it, the Larson line, where you let the rear end hang out and just apologize to the body shop on Monday morning because you're just going to have to use up that right rear fender in order to carry the speed through the corners here. And the thing is that as the night wears on, on the dirt side, there's what they call the cushion. And you can kind of see one starting to form about midway up the corners right now, where there's a little bit darker groove of dirt. That's where the moisture is. That's where the grip is. And then where the cars are going to be running a lot, you're going to see it start to get kind of shiny, and it'll start to get real slick. So these guys are going to be hunting all night long. The fast guys, anyways, are going to be hunting all night long for whatever moisture is going to be left in this track to try to get as much traction as they can, to try to get through the corners as efficiently as they can.
Now, would it be fair to assume with these cars do not handle like your typical dirt car? These things do not handle like the big late models. These things clearly do not handle like the wing sprint cars or the big block modifieds that you'll see us broadcast on Thursday nights. We saw it a lot during the real life race just before we got on air. Those guys were staying on the inside in that run-in groove to try to help these cars turn. Do you think that's something that we could see here tonight?
Probably not, because in the real world, this track was doing what they call taking on rubber. And what that means is as the tires wear, it'll go slick, but after a while, with so many cars pounding and pounding and pounding, the track will actually start to harden up, almost to the point of a poor man's asphalt track, and you'll see the fast line start to go back to where it is shiny because there's rubber down there, because there's grip down there, and you really got to be prepared for it if it happens, because the car, it won't want to slide and it won't want to turn. So you really have to know what the track's about to do. So if you're set up to run loose, and have that tail end hanging out, if the track starts to rubber in, you're going to be in for a long night. There's some tracks that you expect them to rubber in especially in the longer races. So you kind of set it up so you're kind of out to lunch in the first part of the race, and then as the track rubbers in, you'll see guys start to march to the front. iRacing hasn't gotten that part figured out yet on the dirt side, but we could possibly see some guys running lower. I think you're going to see the fast guys use the cushion to their advantage. But the way that this track is set up, they've actually taken banking out of this track with the dirt on it. It's in real life, it's a progressive banking where it gets steeper as you go up towards the wall. It doesn't do that as badly on the dirt side because they've kind of filled in that seam, if you will, between where the racing surface is and the what would generally be the apron.
Certainly, we've got just under 3 minutes left here in this qualifying session. The man who currently sits at the top of the overall point standings is not on the racetrack right now. That is Cedric Hunter. Cedric Hunter, after his win last week at Atlanta, is sitting at 267 points on the season. Now, he has overtaken Tony Ball for the championship lead as far as overall points go, but with Tony's 3 wins on the season, now we haven't seen him in 3 weeks, but with his 3 wins, he still sits atop the standings. So Hunter is locked into the playoffs now. There are only 4 drivers that are locked into the playoffs. Tony Ball with his win at the Daytona Road Course, at Homestead, and at Vegas. Cedric Hunter with his win last week in Atlanta. J.D. Woodward has locked himself in with his win at Phoenix. And then Scott Warren, who locked himself in at Daytona. So there's still a lot of moving around that can be done. The top 16 right now, Christian Vasquez is the one sitting at the very bottom of that top 16. We haven't seen him since Vegas either. Still very early days in this season, but this season still is. There's a lot, and this is the early test and the first of a run of short tracks.
And I'd like to point out that Woodward is having connection problems right now, so he's not even here.
Yeah, we've had a couple of guys we've seen tonight that have had connection issues. We saw before 76 of Scott Warren having connection issues. We saw that come into play big time 2 weeks ago at Phoenix with him and his connection issues. As we see Mark McFadden and Brandon Wilson on track with each other. Still Cedric Hunter sitting in pit road. 10 laps he's completed here in this warm-up session that is about to come to a close as Javon works the outside line. This could be, now he hasn't been here every single week because of his work schedule, but we know that 20 is quick. Again, he had set the overall fastest sectors. For some reason, it didn't take his time in qualifying. That 20, if he can get through the field quick, if he can catch a caution at the right time, he could be a real threat here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's going to be starting just about shotgun on the field, but, he's already put up a time that's gone third quick in this warm-up session. So, keep your eye on the 20 tonight because provided you can keep that car relatively clean, and I use that term loosely, stay out of trouble, I don't see why we're not going to be talking to him in about 100 laps time.
Keep it, use that term loosely, and he certainly sent it into turn 1 very loosely. So you're going to see this track virtually reset itself as we get into the race here for tonight. Round number 7 at Bristol Motor Speedway. It'll be J.C. Windsor taking the pole, the number 94, just his second start with the series, and he will sit on pole. Brandon Wilson in the 501 will be sitting right next to him in row 1. Jeff Price and Joe Gauthier will make up row number 2. Cedric Hunter and Greg McConey will move into row number 3. Scott Warren and Logan Jones will go into row number 4. Row 5 will see Ryan Worley and Mark McFadden.
Cruz Hernandez and Connor Trafari going to make up row number 6, with row 7 going to, Blaze Richardson and Cruz Hernandez going to make up row number 6. Connor Trafari and Tim Jennings going to make up row 7. Row 8 is going to see Jason Papp and Elijah Innes, and starting shotgun on the field after transponder problems during qualifying, Giovanna Cherry.
Aaron Tribble also
is
here
not
as
in the
well.
session.
Oh, he is not. Okay. Cedric Hunter has decided to start from the pit lane here tonight. Now we're going to get 2 warm-up laps. So there is your current champion in that number 13.
And Jason Papp was just given an EOL.
And that would be by design for the driver of the number 1. There he is sporting the league sponsor, Rowdy Energy. So with 2 warm-up laps here, these guys are going to get a chance. Now restarts are going to be a big thing here. These tires produce a lot of power. Well, this engine produces a lot of power that it sends to those rear tires. Restarting with a car this big with this much power can be very, very tricky here tonight.
It's difficult in a dirt late model with a 15-inch rear tire and about 300 less horsepower to get them going in a straight line. I can only imagine what it's going to be like with a car that weighs almost 1,500 pounds more with 200 more horsepower and a rear tire that's about 5 inches narrower.
It's certainly going to be a wild night here. Now, we were expecting this race to be next week, but with Easter Sunday looming, we've pushed it up as they come off of turn 4. Green flag is in the air. Already out of control is J.C. Windsor. 100 laps here at Bristol. We're green.
Good grief.
And we're already seeing big issues here in the middle of the field. Greg McConey in the 12. Saw Logan Jones in the 23. He was up against the wall. He still is up against the wall. And boy, oh boy, this is going to be the challenge all night long. As there we see Joe Gauthier and Jeff Price. Price has had a couple of good runs here lately in that number 14, back up in the podium. He's been there the last 2 weeks.
As they're already running a couple wide, a little bit further in the pack. There was Scott Warren and Gauthier going at it. Warren gets the great run coming off of 2 and just slingshots around. And here comes Marconi on the high side of Gauthier as well.
And Greg McConey able to slide that car around the outside, and that's one of those things in these dirt cars. The outside line is where you want to be. If you can get the good run, you can. It translates just the same way it would on an asphalt track. If you can get a good run on exit on the outside line, you can really use the power of that car and really send it. As we're going to see Blaze Richardson try to do just that. Hits the wall on the front straightaway trying to get around Mark McFadden in the 71.
Jeff Price got up into the wall coming off of 2. He's having a lot of problems right now. He may have knocked the rear end out of that car as the 76 of Warren gets by him. Marconi gets by him. Price has got to stop the hemorrhaging as we're under caution.
We are under caution. It looks to be Elijah Innes in the 68, and he has a lot of damage to what used to be a Chevrolet. We'll see what happened to the driver of the 68. Comes out of 2. Looks all good here. Goes into 3, however, and oh my.
He hit that transition that would normally be the apron, and the car just did not turn.
Yeah, no, she goes straight.
And then he hits and helps to finish her off.
Let's see. You can just hear the revs that he's taking there, and up and over he goes.
He was able to let it back to the pit. Is Logan Jones going to bring it pit side to get some service done? Cedric Jones going to take it pit side, Cedric Hunter going to take it pit side to get some service done. And it looks like Tim Jennings was pit side, just did a pass through, possibly trying to avoid that mess.
Well, that was
That was
typical.
Hunter
It's a
that started in the
typical,
pits.
yeah, it was a typical iRacing strategy, as you can see. Oh, boy, see how bumpy that is on these dirt tires as we get set to go back to green flag racing here. That is a strategy that can be employed here on iRacing as you drive through the pit lane. That'll allow you to pit on 1 to green without getting a penalty, or on 2 to green rather, without getting a penalty.
Right, but with this being a dirt track, the cautions aren't going to be that long.
No, they're certainly not, especially
one lap to grab the field, 1 lap to form up, and then we're going.
So we'll see when Elijah Innes here gets his wave around. It should let us know what the situation is. I don't think he's going to get it this time.
He's still on the lead lap.
He's at the tail end of the lead lap here, so he get waved around to go back to the end of the line. Cedric Hunter and Logan Jones back in pit road again. So right now
and that's going to mess me up all night long, is Windsor in the 05 actually has the transponder for the 94 in that car.
Yeah.
So that's going to do nothing but mess me up all night long. Yeah, sorry, folks.
No, you're fine. I'm seeing 94 on my end, so.
Oh, he's got the transponder for the 94, but it says 05 on the car. And there goes Innes, so we're going green next time.
Yes, we are. So it'll be Windsor and Wilson on the front row just as they were to start the race. Scott Warren has jumped up from the 7th position all the way up to 3rd in those couple of green flag laps. Greg McConey has moved to the outside of the 2nd row, this after starting on the outside of the 3rd row for the initial start of the race.
Cherry's already up to 9th.
Yeah, he is. He has been on one heck of a move. Biggest mover of the race is Javon Cherry, up 8 positions from where he started. Green flag back in the air, and boy, again, Windsor really wiggling that car right off the start, and you can just see this wide shot here as McConey gets into the wall hard coming out of turn 2. These guys are spread out all over the place immediately.
Yeah, Marconi tried to take the turn 2 wall with him as he made that corner, but he's got to be real careful right now because, well, there it goes. Worley does the same thing. Worley's still eating the wall.
Yeah, he's still having issues in that 0-0 is Ryan Worley. Down to 10th place. Boy, gets a little shot there from the 20 of Javon Cherry. And boy, Ryan Worley is having a mare of a time here as Cruz Hernandez goes around, and that will be caution number 2 here of the evening on lap 14.
And Hernandez had a lot of help on that one.
I think he was stuck in the wall there, which is why he didn't just throw it in reverse.
He is.
And you can see this happened just behind the issue with Cherry, and yep, you're right. Price just runs right through him going onto the front straightaway, and yep, got stuck in the wall, which is why he had to bail out into the pits. So the 81 in early trouble here tonight is Brandon Wilson. No, still Windsor leading this race. So we are working caution number 2 here. We're going to take this time to sneak in a quick break here. We'll be right back with more. You're watching round number 7 of the Rowdy Energy Cup Series season right here on ESPN. nearing the quarter distance mark here at Bristol Motor Speedway in Bristol, Tennessee, for round number 7 of the Rowdy Energy Cup Series season. As we have some guys electing to go into pit lane. Jason Papp has been down pit road and out again. Cruz Hernandez Jr. is back in the race, albeit 4 laps down. But he is back. Windsor and Wilson once again on the front row. Windsor gets a better jump this time, starting lap 20 here of 100 from Bristol.
Windsor may have gotten a better jump, but it looks like he maybe spun the tires as Wilson gets a great drive off with 2. Pulls side by side with Scott Warren. Warren throws it to the inside, using the apron to his advantage, trying to get that car to turn. Slide job coming off of 4. Not going to have it. Wilson maintains number 2 spot.
Scott Warren doing a fantastic job, as boy, you're going to see that all night long as these cars are incredibly hard to control on the dirt. Brandon Wilson giving the round 1 winner at Daytona a little bit of a how do you do, sending him back towards the inside line. So Windsor, Wilson, and Warren. Greg McConey there as well. Connor Trafari rounding out the top 5 in that number 48. But as you alluded to before, here comes the 20. Javon Cherry already up into 8th position, up 10 spots from where he started.
Didn't get the restart he was hoping for, but he is starting to make some headway now that they got these cars wound up again, as Marconi and Trafari just throwing bombs at each other, taking it through the 3-4 complex. And Trafari trying to figure out a way to get by Marconi without either one of them having to replace the bodies on those cars.
Again, McConey working with a lot of momentum his way right now. As mentioned before, he has won the last 2 Friday night races at Daytona in the Cup cars and at Talladega this most recent Friday in the Xfinity cars for his 3rd win of the year. Currently leads the points standings on Friday night. As a battle for second, Scott Warren now has taken over that 2nd spot, but Wilson has the run on the outside line. He's going to take it right back.
I was about to say Warren might have figured something out as he was running that low line, getting that car to work down there, but slipped up coming off the 4, and Wilson was able to maintain a little bit more momentum as Warren goes to the high side this time through 3 and 4, gets a much better run, much better drive. Wilson still defending as Windsor continues to show the way out front.
Riding on board the back of Windsor, you just hear how much these cars are revved out here to be able to handle the dirt and the different lines that these guys are taking in order to pass each other. And that, for me, is the most difficult part of racing on dirt, is the fact that you're trying to pass a car that's sideways. You don't have to do that typically on an oval, as Warren now has that outside. Wilson has to really check up in order to keep from running into the corner of Scott Warren. So now Wilson well and truly out of the 2nd position right now.
Well and truly out of the 2nd position and in a lot of trouble. Oh,
him and McConey, and that's going to go around. Caution should be coming out here. Somehow Javon Cherry makes it through, and the caution does come out as Trafari gets back on all 4s.
That was big junk right there. That was actually the same crossover gate that I believe Michael Waltrip hit about 20-something years ago.
Somebody else, I can't remember, more modern rendition of Bristol. I believe it was in the early 2000s. Somebody else hit that crossover gate as well and did the same exact thing that happened to Waltrip. But let's take a look back and see what happened here with McConey. In that 12 on the inside line, he's just going to gas it up, and boy, he's got the power. Unfortunately, he tried the slide job. The slide job worked on Trafari. Unfortunately, there was another car there.
Well, the thing is he hit there's a slick spot that's starting to form up on the exit of 2. And Marconi hit that, and unfortunately, Wilson was already there. And poor Connor Trafari, nowhere to go, just got more airtime than skateboard at the exit.
Just went on board with Trifari as Brandon Wilson now clearly going to take it down pit road. McConey is going to do the same. Logan Jones, Timothy Jennings, Elijah Innes is already in pit road at this point.
Now, they are giving these guys one quick repair for tonight.
I'm surprised that Innes hasn't used it yet, if that is the case. Because that car is,
Roached.
junk. So we are working lap 33, working lap 32, about to go to lap 33. Here at Bristol, J.C. Windsor has led every single lap thus far. Scott Warren, Javon Cherry moving his way up to third. Now, there was one point of view I wanted to see of this accident because Cherry had just barely gotten around that.
It's very weird to me because on the dirt oval side, laps under caution don't count. However, they are counting here tonight.
See the accident right here happening in front of Cherry, and boy, he really had to move to avoid hitting the 12. Joe Gauthier also with a big save there, getting through. Gauthier up to 6th.
Gauthier up to 4th.
Or 4th, pardon me. Yep, you're right. I saw the 6 on the car, and that's where my mind went.
Cherry making a lot of good headway so far. Already up to 3rd after starting shotgun on the field. Gauthier sitting in the number 4 slot. Again, Gauthier the only one that has an A-class license. Everybody else B or lower, and there's a lot of rookies in here on the dirt oval side of things. So not a lot of guys that run a lot of dirt oval stuff. As green flag comes back out, Windsor pulls the trigger. Warren goes with him this time.
Boy, Javon had to really check up because I believe he had gotten into the back of J.C. Windsor on the start, and that really forced him to get out of line and check up. So Javon, who was in 3rd, now in 7th position, trying to battle with Blaze Richardson in the 18. Up at the front, Windsor and Warren, though, synchronized sliding as now Trifari is coming under pressure from Gauthier and from McFadden as, boy, Blaze Richardson had a big moment there in the back. Now having connection issues is the 18 as Javon Cherry blocking off the 13 of Cedric Hunter.
And you got to be impressed by what Connor Trifari's doing right now. He had that car on its roof, and he's still running in 3rd.
This goes to show it's about skill tonight. It's not necessarily about aero as he completely rides the wall to try to get to the outside of Scott Warren, and it eventually does bite him as now he's got Mark McFadden giving him a nice little shot in the left rear in that number 71. And, oh, there was somebody way down there. I think it was Ryan Worley. It was. Boy, Worley had a big moment coming off of 2.
Yeah, he did. He lost a ton of spots right there. He
still
doesn't have that under control.
Yeah, he's still trying.
He's got a lot of damage on that car.
Yeah, it's damage very equivalent to Elijah Innes. Let's take a look at what happened coming off of 2 there for Worley. Oh, ran right into the end of the pit wall.
Well, he has no deck lid. He has no front bumper.
On board, and that's why the barrels are there, as I believe we're under caution again here.
Jason Papp involved in that one.
Mark McFadden as well in it in the 71. I think Cruz Hernandez as well a part of it.
Yeah, it started with McFadden.
You mentioned Papp as well.
Papp just got collected in it, but yeah, that started with McFadden in 71.
Let's take a look and see here. There's the 71 of McFadden running by himself here. You can see just how rubbered in that the track is starting to get and how worn out that line is starting to get.
Well, that's not rubbered in. That's
worn
going
out.
Dry slick.
Yeah.
That's worn out. That's the only thing I can liken it to is anybody that's from north of the Mason-Dixon line. It's like trying to drive on ice in January. That's the only way I can describe what he was feeling right there.
So the problem is we're going to ride on board with J.C. Windsor right now just to see what these guys can see. The problem
Not
with,
much.
well, well, the problem with the line as we're seeing it through turn 3 right now, this is something they're having to deal with, especially on corner entry and exit, but it's all throughout the turn, and it's right on the line where you would go into the corner. It's going to be worse in 1 and 2 than it is in 3 and 4 because 1 and 2 is tighter. You can just see how dark that is, and that line is where you would enter the corner if you want to go high or low.
That is normally where you would enter if this was still a pavement track at this point. But that's the thing about dirt oval racing is you've got to be looking for where the line is that will get you through the corner. Now, if you take a look at where Connor Trafari's car is going through 3 and 4, there's some bite down there. Where he is right now, I guarantee you there's bite, and you're going to see somebody go down there and make something happen before this night's out, at least sometime within the next 10 laps.
See, now the only problem with that is that these are rear-wheel drive cars, and that is pretty well down there. So all of the power that you would be sending through to the rear tires is all going to the rears, which are going to be in the slick stuff, the worn-out groove.
You've got to go way down there, or you've got to go way up towards the top, up where I believe that's the 31.
51 probably. Yep, the 51 of Timothy Jennings.
Yeah, up where Jennings was, maybe about a car width off the wall. That's where the cushion is right now. That's the only two places you're going to find grip right now is up where the 51 of Jennings is as they're pacing around here, or way down towards the apron. And you've got to be searching for it all night long because this track is going to change all race long. You've got to hunt for the moisture.
Just about at the halfway point right now as we get set to go back to green flag racing. J.C. Windsor and Scott Warren on the front row. It's Trafari and Gautier in row number 2. We have 55 laps to go. We're back to green flag racing here. As, boy, the middle of the pack is going to get strung out again.
And Windsor almost just stepped on his own jump.
Worley's around again.
2. Yep.
And Worley is stopped, and that will be caution number 4 of the night. I admire the series for coming here, and they gave these guys a lot of practice as well. Boy, this is just still feels like just too new an animal, these big stock cars on a dirt track. Now, there is a way you can simulate this if you go into a testing session and you go to one of the dirt tracks that are provided on the service, and you can test how these cars would drive. However, you wouldn't get a setup that works nearly as well as the one that is on the car right now.
Well, the other thing, too, is it was only 2 weeks ago that they let you put this car on dirt.
Yeah.
It was when the last build came out. So up until then, you could only run the truck, and you couldn't run it on this particular track. But you're seeing the guys that, they've got a little bit of dirt experience, that, they've played on the dirt oval side of things before, that are going towards the front. James Windsor has a B-class dirt side license. Cedric Hunter, C-class. Connor Trafari, C-class. Joe Gauthier, A-class. And you're seeing those guys that know how to handle the dirt, know what they're looking for as far as how to hunt the moisture. Those are the guys that are able to do this. But, like I said, Windsor almost shot himself in the foot on that restart. Yep. As he got real slick coming through 1 and 2. Yeah,
we saw that on the replay with Worley. He almost lost it in the middle of 1 and 2. Now, would it be fair to assume, now, the trucks clearly are not the same as these cars. That's a given. If you are halfway decent with the trucks at Eldora, it's smaller than this track, yes, but it's got a lot of the characteristics. Long bank corners with a decent straightaway. So if you have run the trucks at Eldora, would it be somewhat comparable to running here?
You're not going to be as out to lunch as somebody that doesn't have dirt experience, but you're talking about a vehicle that weighs about 200 pounds less, has about 200 less horsepower, and the suspension, while it's very similar if you take the bodies off them, there's some differences. But yeah, if you have somebody that knows what they're doing in a truck, which, mind you, in the real world anyways, I don't know if iRacing's going to do it, but I know that the trucks in the real world are going to Knoxville this year.
Oh, wow.
So 2 dirt races for the pickup truck.
So I guess they've scrubbed Eldora for this, and Knoxville then would be.
Yeah, I'll explain that when we go off the air, because there's rumors and whatnot that are going around, but
okay.
There was a disagreement, let's just put it that way, and the people that own Eldora weren't happy. As single file restart this time, green flag comes out, Windsor pulls the trigger, and Warren going with him. Here comes Hunter to the inside of Trafari going through 1 and 2.
Yep. Caught off guard a little bit. You're right. This is the first time we've seen Cedric Hunter up at the front. Remember, Hunter started in the 5th position. However, he elected to start from the pit lane, and he's got that outside line working right now as both Scott Warren in front of him and Connor Trafari behind him both went into the wall.
And Warren may have knocked the rear axle out of that car, as he is struggling right now, and he has got to stop the hemorrhaging as Trafari gets in the back of him going through 3 and 4.
Yep, Joe Gauthier right there as well. Cedric Hunter in the mix. Brandon Wilson, who started in 2nd after getting involved in an accident with his teammate, fell to the back, needed to use a fast repair. He has gotten himself back in it. As boy, this is your battle. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. All on your screen right now. Blaze Richardson and Jeff Price right behind them, battling for position. We'll go on board here. We'll do it with Brandon Wilson here, just to show you how hard these drivers are working. Hopefully I can get you a shot. Just to show you how hard these guys are working, and it's not clean in there tonight either.
Far from it, and tear-offs are going to be...
Oh, Wilson's around.
It looked like he may have had some help.
Well, caution is out. We couldn't see. We were riding on board with him at the time.
Just a little bit. He started it himself and then had some help finishing that one, as Gauthier nowhere to go. Just the chrome horn.
Here is Wilson, and then,
He started that one on himself. He got into the slick stuff going into 1. Got it a little too sideways, and Gauthier nowhere to go, just pile drove him.
I think you could also blame that one on netcode. At least the initial contact going into the corner from the angle that we showed, that looked like netcode to me, and then you're right, he finished him off. Same thing with the incident between McConey and Wilson. That appeared to be netcode as well. However, with the pace that McConey had going in the direction he was going in, whether it was netcode or not, that accident was always going to happen anyway.
Yes. Yes, it would. As we are just past the halfway point. Windsor, Warren, Trafari, and Hunter.
Just over 40 laps to go. Seeing in the YouTube chat, thank you very much. Stephen Woodward, JD, out with internet issues, I would have to assume. Aaron Tribble not starting this race either, and Mark McFadden, the only other retirement thus far. Everyone else.
McFadden's back out there.
Oh, no, he is. You're right. I just saw him pop back. Yep, there he is in that number 71. So the only 2 retirements in this race thus far. are the two that didn't start.
I gotta give these guys credit. It can be a little intimidating the first time you come to a dirt track, and the fact that these guys are putting on the show that they're putting on. I mean, yeah, there's guys they're struggling, but you're going to have that no matter where we go.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that these guys are putting on the show that they're putting on, and this is for a lot of them some of their first times on a dirt oval, this is remarkable to watch.
We've had an issue in the back here, which is why we flipped to Jason Papp in the number 1. Let's see if anything happened here, or if this is SDK playing with me again. Oh, no, a little bit of a bump to Ryan Worley on the front straightaway. Again, those two are teammates. So nothing too bad there. Yeah, everything looks all fine. SDK making more of something than it needed to be.
And Elijah Ennis a happy camper because he just got back onto the lead lap.
Yes, he did. Top 15 are on the lead lap at the moment. Cruz Hernandez Jr. currently sits 2 laps down in the 16th position. And Mark McFadden currently sitting 16 laps down in the 17th spot. He is the last car running on track. So we're back for a double file restart again, it would appear. So as we get set to go green, once again, it's going to be Windsor and Warren on the front row. And Windsor gets a good start this time, gets a big jump on Scott Warren. We're back to green flag action. And boy, Connor Trafari right there as well. And now Windsor, for the first time all race long, losing the lead.
And Windsor did the same thing he did on that previous restart, but Warren was able to capitalize this time. As Windsor tries to come back on him, coming down the front straightaway, Trafari has to deal with Gauthier and Hunter as those guys are starting to get it done. And don't look now, but here comes the 12 of Marconi up through the pack as well.
The 12 of Marconi coming up through the pack, running in the 9th position right now. Also the 20 of Javon Cherry has found his way back up into this lead pack. He's trying to work the outside on Joe Gauthier. Almost spins it coming off of the wall as Trafari now on the outside line in the 2nd position. Everybody on the outside line putting it in the wall as J.C. Windsor really losing out on that inside. I think you're right, Tony. The outside line has become the dominant preferred line here if you can keep it out of the wall.
Unless your name is Joe Gauthier, who is making that real low line work, and we're back under caution.
Yes, we are. It appears to be possibly Logan Jones in the 23. We saw him have an issue as far as entering pit lane, which I would have to assume was not an actual genuine attempt at getting onto pit lane. Nope, there he is. Spins. Getting on, and that was enough to draw the caution. So we are quickly wrapping this thing up to a close here, as we are already just over 30 laps to go. Things move quick on dirt.
They do. They normally do. But Connor Trafari screaming right now that he needs a tear-off. And I know he doesn't want to bring it down pit road to get a tear-off, but if you look through his windshield right now,
there's not much to see, I'm assuming.
There's a lot of mud on that windshield.
Yeah, there is. There's a lot of mud on that windshield. There's a lot of mud in that car right now. Just go through the field here. There's Scott Warren's view. Scott Warren's view isn't too bad. Cedric Hunter, same thing, not all that bad. I wouldn't expect J.C. Windsor to have any dirt on his windshield. Yep, barely does. Joe Gauthier, I mean, that does not seem like a lot of dirt. However,
not compared to what they were doing in the real world, but yeah, no, they're.
However, that amount of dirt, again, it's not a lot. I mean, Blaze Richardson has quite a bit, but that amount of dirt is enough. That can throw you off as far as looking for a line or trying to judge a corner entry.
Oh yeah, it'll definitely mess you up. And that's the other point I wanted to bring up is, they tried this experiment at Bristol sometime in the 90s, and I forget exactly which year they did it. But what you saw during today's Cup race and today's truck race on network television, um, just the cloud of dust, is what you saw when they did this the last time at Bristol, covered it in dirt, and they put the World of Outlaw sprint cars and the late models there. Um, you couldn't see anything. And apparently they didn't learn their lesson the first time they tried it.
Well, and apparently they've also, from what I heard, the people that were working the track are not the same people that you would see working, say, Williams Grove or Eldora typically. It wasn't the same style crew with the same knowledge or background of how to take care of dirt for a dirt race. And of course, these cars being big and heavy and with so much power made it worse as well.
And what they were finding was the same thing as they found out the first year that they covered the Oswego Speedway up here in upstate New York. The first time they covered that track in clay for Super Dirt Week, they found the same thing this week at Bristol, where it would just rut up going into the corners. I'm not going to say they solved the problem, but they found out how to mitigate the problem up here, and that's who they should have brought in. And hindsight always being 2020, as the green flag comes back out and we've got the field stacked up. Oh wow!
Yeah, that was a good start from Cedric Hunter. Couldn't make the pass. Connor Trafari didn't get a good start either, as we'll look a little bit more towards the back of the field here, as that'll be another caution, or it might be at least. Ryan Worley facing back the other direction, and wow, we're still under green.
Now Hunter just ate the inside wall coming through 3 and 4.
Yep, there's Cedric Hunter right there in the 13. Falling to the back now. Let's take a look and see what happened with Worley. It's like this all starts with Worley, and again, this boy McConey just flew right into that restart, and that's what triggered that. As after McConey flew into that restart, Worley never got the car set. And here's what happened with Cedric Hunter not that long after, is he's just trying to hold it on that inside line. Gauthier doesn't touch him.
And then Warren got it all wrong, which has let Giovanni Cherry get up into second as he's trying to reel in Connor Trafari right now. James Windsor holding down the number 2 spot as Cherry, one of the only ones running that ultra low line, trying to find whatever grip he can, trying to take the short way around right now, as there looks like there's a second cushion starting to form up on that ultra low line.
Cherry does look as though he's quite enjoying that inside line right now. As boy, there is Trafari, and there's the contact between the two as they head into turn number 3. And again, only natural that turns 1 and 2 will look a lot worse than turns 3 and 4, because that turn is so much tighter than turns 3 and 4. But boy, Cherry really has that corner down pat. Gets around Windsor, really flies up on Trafari. If he can figure out 3 and 4, he's got this place down.
Well, he caught too much of the apron that last lap, and that let Windsor get back by him, as he's getting a great drive off of 2, and Trafari looks like he might be struggling through 1 and 2 right now. Now, the other thing you got to keep in mind, too, is 1 and 2 are getting worn out, because on the restarts, these guys are still too wide going through there. Through 3 and 4, not so much.
Yep, that as well. Certainly a factor. As boy, Cherry and Windsor getting a big synchronized slide on. And boy, again, you mentioned it, a great run coming out of turn 2. Another thing that's worth noting, you saw at Knoxville.
Slide job off of 4. Here we go.
Yep, almost got it. He led the lap, certainly, and if he can get a run through 1 and 2 like he's been getting, he will have the race lead. And Javon Cherry will definitely have the race lead as Trafari and Windsor come together behind him as Cherry. And right as Cherry takes the lead, Cedric Hunter goes around in the 13. We are under caution.
Wow, that car has seen better days.
It certainly has. And I think Cedric Hunter will stay with the Kobe Bryant tribute scheme from now on, because this is his first venture out of it, and that one wasn't even his fault. That one's on Blaze Richardson running up the track. just about to mention prior to... I might be going here.
Huh?
Hello, hello?
Yeah, you're here.
Okay. Yeah, hold on. We're trying to get it back here. I'm sorry, my computer's having an issue at the moment. Okay. iRacing has unfortunately decided that it no longer wants to work for me here. So while I get this sorted out, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back here. You're watching Round 7 action here on ESPN. Don't go anywhere.
Eesh.
All right, we do apologize for that technical issue there. Finally sorted out now, as we are under caution yet again. And Tony, I will give you the honor of explaining it, because we didn't necessarily see it.
Well, they had just thrown the green flag. Scott Warren had started in third, threw it into turn one, and unfortunately hit the slick stuff and got some help to go all the way around as the caution comes back out as we are working lap 85 of 100.
So we are getting down to the nitty gritty here, and third time lucky here is the story I've been trying to explain here. Javon Cherry. Okay, nothing's happened yet. Remember, he was supposed to have started from the pole here tonight. He had set the fastest lap from what we saw, and we had showed his entire qualifying run. He didn't hit the wall. I don't think there's any counting as far as X's for hitting the apron here. So his entire qualifying run was clean. He went purple on his second lap, and the time did not register. He had to start from the 18th position, which would have been stone dead last on the field. And he is now finally up to the race lead, and I have finally set that up properly. We can continue this race now.
Yes, we can. And if you take a look at the car that's going to be starting next to him, Connor Trifari, that car has been through a war already. It's
Car's been upside down.
It's been upside down. It's been into the wall numerous times. It's been into other cars numerous times. And Trifari has been screaming for the last about 20 laps that he needs to get a tear off. But with track positioning being at a premium like it is, he's one of only 4 drivers who has not been down pit road yet tonight.
And with the cautions and tire wear, and because of the cautions, the rate of fuel usage, rate of fuel burn, certainly not a factor as we go back to green flag racing here. Single file restart, 11 laps to go, and Trifari gets into the wall coming out of that second corner, and already, boy, J.C. Windsor really had a big moment. He's going to have another one as McConey and Richardson have a coming together coming off of turn number 2.
And we got another one around.
Yeah, we do. That would be, I'm assuming, Blaze Richardson. It is in the 18.
He had a lot of help to finish that one off, too.
Fortunately, I will say fortunately, because we had to leave the session and come back in and do all that nonsense, these cars they're clean now. They're not all back together the way they're supposed to be. They're all clean now. But the track state also stayed the same from the way it was. So at least we're not just seeing guys randomly spinning on a good surface. That surface is still just as bad as it was when we last left it.
And Richardson's having connection issues too. He's blinked quite a bit, so that could have been a big factor as to why that little oops just happened.
So getting pushed around by Greg McConey there, a simple 360, and then away he goes. Caution had already come out. So to reset the top 5 here, it's going to be Javon Cherry, Joe Gautier, Connor Trifari, Cedric Hunter, and then it will be Ryan Worley. Another driver who has been upside down here tonight, upside down all around, is that 00 out of Canton, North Carolina. And he's up in the top 5 spot.
Yeah, definitely a great drive for Worley, especially after what he did during the hot lap session. They basically had to go to 2 backup cars before they were about 10 minutes into the thing because he completely knocked the front clips out of the cars. So they're on about their 3rd or 4th car tonight. So they finally found one that is to his liking, as it looks like we're going single file again.
And we found one that works as we're getting set to go back to green flag racing here. You're right, single file once again here inside the final 10 laps, getting towards the final 5 laps. 6 to go here as we go back to green flag racing here from Bristol. Gautier in the wall. That's going to put Trifari down to the inside. Everyone stays clean, though. We're still good. Gautier now having a lot of issues in that 67. Puts CJ Windsor in the wall.
Gautier was trying to stay off of the 20, got into the slick stuff, and we're under caution.
Boy, just as Cedric Hunter was about to make a move, it was the 12 of McConey that went around, and this will mean a green-white checkered attempt here. Now we get 2 of these as we see McConey. Boy, just too deep into turn 3, getting into the left rear corner of Joe Gautier.
And he hit that slick stuff. And like I said, the only way I can really describe it is if you're from north of the Mason-Dixon, it's like trying to drive on ice. If you're from, anywhere down south, think back a couple weeks ago. I'm talking to you, Texas, when you guys got that white fluffy stuff on the ground for the first time in God knows how long. And there's no grip in the dark areas in the corners here. There's no grip, and it's all about throttle control right now. And when you're trying to wrangle in 900 horsepower in a 3,600 and something pound stock car, I think it's 3,640. That's not the easiest thing to do, especially considering that, especially the guys that have dirt experience. When you're driving and I'm using air quotes right now, normal dirt car, you've got a lot more chassis adjustments that you can make. You've got a lot of different changes you can make with the tires. In the real dirt side of things, you're allowed to cut on the tires. You're allowed to, carve on them and make them your own. These guys aren't allowed to do that with these tires.
They're absolutely not. And again, one of the big things that was mentioned over the course of the week was this the first time in decades that these guys were on bias ply tires, which you had brought up quite a bit when we were doing the old throwback series in the 87 cars. So that's also another thing that these guys are going to have to contend with.
And the thing is, if you took a look at some of our guys that we know that were in the real world pits, those tires weren't lasting 40 laps. Mm-hmm. They were completely burning the right rear off the car. You were driving on a slick after 40 laps. No tread.
Unfortunately, these guys don't necessarily have to deal with that, but they do have to deal with a first attempt at a green-white checkered finish. Javon Cherry and Connor Trafari, the front row, Cedric Hunter and Ryan Worley, as they double them back up again, will make up row number 2. So here we go. First attempt of 2 at a green-white checkered finish. Green flag is back in the air. Cherry gets a good jump. Hunter slides and backs the field up, but Javon Cherry in the 20, gone and away.
And we're back under caution.
Oh, yep. Yes, we are. Ryan Worley again in that 00. Are we just praising him for being in the top 5?
I think we were.
Well, I was. I'm going to put your name on that. But here's this start, and again, it's just...
Hit that slick stuff.
Well, that was also... No, I think that was more net code on the part of that incident.
He hit the slick part.
Take a look again. This is Worley.
Yeah, he started that one himself. Just overcooked it going into 1, hit the slick stuff, and around she went.
So next flag will end the race at this stage, as we will hope to get this race done under green flag conditions. And I'm looking at Twitter right now. Oh, by the way, and Bob Pockrass has posted on Twitter, a little surprised by this since it took so much work, but NASCAR announces it will run Bristol Dirt in the spring of 2022 for the Cup Series again, in hopes of having a full crowd. So
well,
I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it, so you're going to see it again.
Well, hopefully when they decide to put the track down next time, they get the crew that does Super Dirt Week up here in upstate New York, because those guys seem to have that figured out now. Putting clay down on a pavement track and getting it to last. So
that was one of the things mentioned about the way they built this racetrack. They also put a bunch of sawdust down in order to protect the actual surface of the racetrack, the asphalt surface that they're going to run at night during the summer. Do you think that could have had any effect? Again, I'm genuinely asking here. I have no idea. Would that have had an effect on the rutting issue that we saw throughout the real life race today?
Not overly. The biggest problem is when they decided to hold this race. And I understand, yeah, it was trying to give them as much time to get the track turned back into clean pavement as they could. But March is not the time you want to be trying to do this in Middle Tennessee. You know, the pavement race has been snowed out before.
Yep.
So the fact that they had the weather that they had, not the best idea, especially considering that the vast majority of dirt tracks across the country don't start running until middle of April.
Got rained out yesterday as well as we get set to go back to green flag racing. From what I'm seeing now, Cedric Hunter did just barely get the move made on Connor Trafari. So the points leader will be looking for his second consecutive win against Javon Cherry. They're going to go single file here for what will be the final restart of this race. Pace truck is off. Cherry leading them down. Green flag is in the air for the final time. We're racing.
Cherry spun his tires. Here comes Trafari.
Oh, and around he goes. Cedric Hunter's going to take the lead, and the caution is out. And that right there is a killer for the 20. Had a chance to take it, had the best car in qualifying. The time didn't register. Had to start from the back, made it all the way through the field twice.
Mm-hmm.
And on the last restart, we saw it happen with the 94. Just too slick going into turn one, and Cedric Hunter will pick up his second win in a row, his second win of the season, and will extend his points lead in the chase.
And that was one of those deals where Cherry, he spun his tires, got a little overexcited when that final green flag came out, and Hunter did everything he could to stay off him. Trafari did everything he could to stay off of Hunter. Wilson was able to get by Trafari. So, I mean, that was an amazing final corner.
We'll take a look at the finish once again here. Well, we'll take a look at the restart, pardon me. See, Cherry, where he restarts, he's still in the black. You're right, does spin the tires a little bit. Hunter got a good restart, and then just the back end goes all the way around. If he would have taken that outside line, that doesn't happen, but still, I mean, he didn't look like he had too much say over where the car was going at that point.
No, he didn't. And, you know, especially when you've got some hungry wolves behind you, you've got to try to do everything you can to keep them behind you. And, I mean, that wasn't really anybody's fault. That was just one of them racing deals. Yeah. And unfortunately, you know, Cherry came out on the losing end of it.
We'll finish in the 16th position here tonight, as we will take a look now at our finishing order, well, for interviews at least. And I think, Tony, you are with our race winner, Cedric Hunter, at the moment.
Cedric Hunter, early on, it didn't look like the pink car was going to work for you, but you kept your head down, you kept your foot down. Congratulations on your second victory in a row.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Talk us through that final restart. You were doing everything you could to try to stay off of the 20, and it looked like you both got into the slick stuff there going into one.
Yeah, well, around lap 80 or so, I got involved, or I got spun around, which kind of set me in the back of the field. So, which kind of more or less led to the whole pinning for tires, driving around, because apparently, which I did not know, but tires really makes a huge difference. As someone that doesn't race dirt ever, I didn't know that, and so I had a lot more grip, was able to race my way through the front, and then the final restart, I didn't get the grip or the restart that I really wanted. I was hoping to get on the on the 20s inside, and when I saw Trafari get on my inside, I was trying to defend it, and then we kind of got sent into there. Not the way I, obviously want to win a race. I was kind of hoping for his sake that Jovan was gonna, iRacing was gonna give him the positions back, but unfortunately, it didn't happen. He got the short end of the stick there. But I mean, a win's, I guess, a win. So it sucks, but we'll take it, I guess.
Well, now you brought up a good point about tires. Normally on the dirt side, you're not changing tires throughout the event. So how big of a difference did it make?
Oh, it was huge. I felt like before I grabbed the tires, I was struggling even to keep the car in a straight line down the straightaways. Seemed like the rear end was just fishtailing all the time. Obviously, that might just be me. Again, no, I have very little experience on dirt, so it might have just been me not racing it correctly, but I know that it got hooked up the second I got fresh rubber on that car.
Well, I mean, you put on a hell of a show tonight from the back to the front, or from the front to the back to the back to the front, and we saw you eat the wall a couple of times, getting caught up in other people's dumpster fires, but congratulations on your second win in a row. This being kind of an experiment, if you will. Your thoughts moving forward as the real world just announced that they're coming back here next year. If you guys do that, are you looking forward to that race?
Yeah, absolutely. Going into not only this race, but also the real life race, my expectation of Dirt Bristol wasn't too high. I kind of set the bar pretty low for myself. That way, hopefully, to avoid being disappointed. But like in real life, I think this race was interesting. Definitely, you had some good battles whenever there wasn't wrecks or stuff like that. I think it posed a challenge that most of us asphalt oval guys aren't used to, and so it makes it interesting. I'm looking forward to it in real life next year. I'm hoping that with a little bit more experience and stuff like that, that we can come back next year or next season or whatever. Or I guess in this league it's the same thing, next year, next season. But hopefully we do come back next, in the future, and with experience and stuff like that, we could put on a good show.
All right then. Well, Cedric, before we let you go, is there anybody you want to thank?
Absolutely. So I want to thank my race team, Category 5 Esports. I want to thank all the fans out there for watching, you guys for putting on a great broadcast. I want to thank the drivers and admins for letting me come here and race with them. I want to thank also all the series sponsor, Rowdy Energy, Circle B Diecast, iRacing, iFlags, Butt Kicker, and Midwest Motor Customs for helping the admins and everyone in charge of putting in a good series. It's a lot of fun, and I look forward to racing the rest of the year.
All right, Cedric Hunter, congratulations on your second win in a row. Hopefully we'll see you next week going for the three-peat.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
So that was your race winner, Cedric Hunter. And we're about to bring in our second place finisher here tonight. That would be Brandon Wilson. And Brandon, an interesting night to say the very least here. What were your impressions of this racetrack? You were able to stay up towards the front early, but then you got tangled up with your teammate of all people, put you in the back, but found your way back up. What was your impression of this place?
Man, first off, if you probably already checked my license, I'm a rookie in dirt, so don't do any dirt racing. So this was really fun, but the thing is we had so many of the cautions just kind of slowed down the rhythm, because I know a lot of people were complaining about that. It's just you get a rhythm going, and you can get the car to turn and get through the laps a lot easier. But it was rough, but it was it's definitely pretty entertaining too at the same time. I know when I got back in the back there, I thought I was going to die. It's just horrible trying to pass people on this track, especially now it is with the dirt. So, yeah, it was very interesting, to say the least.
was just about to ask you that. What was it like for a guy? And I started to bring this up, but then a caution came out. Um, I'm an asphalt guy as well. I'm not really big on dirt. What is it like trying to get around somebody when their car is sideways and yours is sideways and your main focus is just not hitting them?
Yeah, that's the thing. Trying to figure out which direction they're going to go. And it really throws you off when you're trying to pick your own lane, and then they go down the bottom lane, and then you see them come up, and you can't go any further right because the wall is there. So it's definitely difficult when you have people who have multiple lanes that they race in, because I mean I was the same way. I mean, it's all over the place, and it's just hard to get a lane cut, but it definitely makes it difficult. That's what I was telling the guys earlier. It's like you get top five, it's really tough to get by those guys because they're wrecking into each other too and bouncing off each other, so you don't really know which way you need to go. But if you get further back, it's just like gridlock. I mean, you can't really go anywhere.
Yeah, we saw that all throughout this race here tonight. We got a week off now. Next race, I believe, is Martinsville. So you guys are going to be going into the middle race of this 3-race short track spree. Going to be happy that this one's on asphalt, I assume, even if it is Martinsville.
Yeah. Even though it is Martinsville, yes. I'm more of a super speedway racer, but I like to learn new things, and it's tough to get these cars down. And those tracks like that, or like even Texas, even it's tough. Chicago, it's one of my favorite ones, but I know the package has changed; it's a little bit different. So it's going to take a little getting used to, but yeah, I'm glad that it's asphalt. Although it'd be pretty cool if it was dirt. You know, it'd be interesting to see.
He runs one dirt race, and now all of a sudden he wants everything on dirt. So, anyone you want to thank before we let you go tonight?
Yeah, definitely thank Jason. As always, he always puts a good lead together, a lot of good races, and it's fun to race with. Circle Beat Diecast, I Race and I Flag, Butt Kicker, Midwest Motor Customs, and most of all, Rowdy Energy. Still happy that he has came on board with us. So I'm hoping that if he did check these races out, he's not too disappointed. But we do pretty good. We put on a good show. A lot of guys, all the guys here that we race with, I race with, really competitive, and so it's really cool to see. So, but I appreciate y'all too. You always do a great job.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Your second place finisher tonight, Brandon Wilson. Congratulations.
Thanks, man.
All right, so now we will hand it back to Tony here for our third place finisher tonight. That would be Connor Trafari, who hopefully can see now.
Well, after screaming for a tear off from about lap 40 on, I'm surprised if he can see still. Connor Trafari, not the run you were probably hoping for, but all things considered, you can't be too disappointed putting it on the podium here tonight at Bristol on the dirt.
Yeah, the car felt pretty good throughout the whole entire race. I got to the lead for a little bit, and then it looked like Jovan just had a lot more of a long run pace than me. And then I just kind of got stuck behind him during the cautions and got a little unlucky, but eventually came home with third.
Well, talk us through when you put it on its roof on the back straightaway there. I believe right around lap 20, bringing out second caution, I believe it was tonight. What was going through your mind as the car was tumbling down the back straightaway?
I was hoping I'd land back on its wheels, but I wasn't too worried about the damage if I still had decent RPMs, because really on the dirt track you really don't need a hood or a bumper, just like all the modifieds in the race, but it didn't really affect me that much.
Well, you were one of only 4 drivers tonight that went the entire length without changing tires. Now, we heard Cedric say that when he went in with about 19 to go and got some fresh rubbers on the right side, that it was a night and day difference. How slick was the track at the closing laps on the old rubber?
It wasn't really that slick once you kind of got going, but definitely on the restarts it was a lot more slick. Like, I had to start in third gear because I think one restart I started in second. I almost spun it out and hit the wall. But I didn't take tires, so I really don't know the difference. But it wasn't that slick once you got going.
Well, being as you're somebody that doesn't do a lot of things on the dirt oval side, um, talk somebody through how difficult it was to adjust, wheeling this car around on as a pavement track, and then trying to conquer it as a dirt track with no grip.
Really, if someone was to try Bristol Dirt, you probably have to have pretty good car control, and you have to feather the gas just to keep the car from spinning out. But I think once you get used to it, it's not as bad as it may seem at first.
All right. Well, fair enough. In 2 weeks, we're taking next week off for the holiday, but in 2 weeks we're going to the second of 3 short tracks in a row with the other half mile at Martinsville. Your thoughts going to the paperclip?
Personally, Martinsville's one of my favorite short tracks, so I'm pretty excited to go there. Just hope that's not a wreck fest or that I don't get involved in any of the wrecks and I can keep it up front.
Well, Connor, it was amazing to watch you run tonight. Is there anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
I'd like to thank the Cup Series main sponsor, Rowdy Energy, Circle B Diecast, iRacing iFlag, Butt Kicker, Midwest Motor Customs. I'd like to thank my team owners, E. Sean, and my teammates, Elijah Innes and Aaron Tribble, even though he didn't race. And I just want to thank my main sponsor, Law 9, for sponsoring me.
Well, again, Connor, congratulations on the podium, and just received word, congratulations on biggest mover tonight.
Ooh, okay. Thank you.
Starting 13th, coming home in 3rd, so congratulations on that. We're looking forward to seeing you in a couple weeks at Martinsville.
Thank you.
All right, so that was your 3rd place finisher here tonight, Connor Trafari, and a lot of things echoed the same way with all 3 of those guys. It's a very difficult track to get a handle of, especially if you're not used to running on dirt. And I mean, and to make matters worse, 1, this is not a dirt track. 2, this is not a dirt car. So that's a big learning curve for all of these drivers to have to take in tonight. And some guys handled it well, other guys just did not.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something you're going to see echoed throughout the entire dirt oval community in iRacing. Throttle control is going to win you races more than anything else, especially on the dirt side. You've got to know what that car is doing every second, more so than on the road side, more so than on the paved oval side. When you get to the dirt, that car usually has a mind of its own, because 9 times out of 10, especially in the simulators, you're going to have way more horsepower than you're ever actually going to be able to put to the ground. So you're really seeing the guys that decided to put in the effort and have the car control that they needed to make things happen. I know it was definitely a heartbreak for Javon Cherry. Led it right up until the final corner, and that's dirt racing. You just went in a little too hard, got into the slick stuff, which is very easy to do, especially like you said, in a car that was never really designed to run on a dirt oval. Especially, I think they said the last time that the Cup Series, air quote Cup Series, was on a dirt track was back in the 70s.
Yeah. I mean, just goes to show how difficult a race like this can be when you have to go so far back, and really all the information that you can take from back then is essentially completely useless. But with that, we're going to start winding ourselves down here. Let's take a look at the results here. For tonight's race, Cedric Hunter gets his 2nd consecutive victory, further extending his points lead in the championship hunt here at round 7. Brandon Wilson, Connor Trafari rounding out the podium positions. We heard from both of them as well. Scott Warren, who had a very good run in the first half of this race, comes home in 4th. J.C. Windsor, who dominated the first half of this race, fell behind right around halfway and just was not able to get back up will round out the top 5. Timothy Jennings, Jeff Price, Joe Gautier, Cruz Hernandez Jr., and Logan Jones round out the top 10 finishers.
Elijah Innes coming home in 11th. Blaze Richardson hanging on for 12th. Jason Papp in 13th. Greg Marconi, not the night he was hoping for, coming home in 14th. Ryan Worley in 15th. Giovanna Cherry, after leading a good portion of the second half of the race, unfortunately was able to just salvage 16th. The last car on the lead lap. Mark McFadden decided to put it on the hauler early. J.D. Woodward and Aaron Tribble not making the green.
So that will do it for us here tonight from the dirt track at Bristol Motor Speedway. Coming up on ESPN tomorrow will be round number 3 for the UK Sim Racing's MX5 Pro Series. They will be at the Brands Hatch Indy Circuit, and because the European time change was this past weekend, the races will now be at 2:50 instead of at 3:50. So we're bumping an hour up. It'll be 2:50 p.m. Eastern Time for the UK Sim Racing MX5 Pro Series at the Brands Hatch Indy Circuit. Sim Racers Edge Alpha Series will be at Chicagoland coming up on Wednesday night at 8:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Then on Thursday, it will be the DOB doubleheader with the 410 Sprint Car Series being at Eldora, and then the Big Block Series going to Limaland immediately after the Eldora race hits a conclusion. That will be at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, the start. Then it will be the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series on Friday night, the 2nd of April, 8:20 p.m. start. They will be at the in the ARCA cars at Daytona, and that will round out the racing for the week. So the 3-day weekend that we thought we were going to have this weekend, we're going to have next weekend, but then we kick back off with a Tuesday doubleheader. So for my broadcast partner, Tony Trapasso, I am Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening. Have a fantastic night, everybody.